Okay, good. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, good evening, everyone. I believe I'm very audible, right? Can you all hear me very well? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. So we were actually supposed to have started at 4 p.m. It's 4:05, and we want to really stick to our time. So I think we'll have to continue, and I think as we move on, others would be joining. So welcome to the very first and foremost online space of Green Earth for Humanity. My name is Alex Kusia Sarah Dixon. I'm the founder and CEO of Green Earth for Humanity. And in today's space, we have a very beautiful topic we are discussing, that is climate change, breast cancer, and artificial intelligence. And we are looking at the intersections, impacts, and their solutions. We look forward to this space being held for a maximum of around 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm not going to be doing this thing alone. This is the flyer that you've already been seeing around. So that is me on the far left, Alex, and followed by Kwame, who is a pharmacy graduate, um, followed by Mary, who just graduated medical school, and Asari, who currently works with Ghana Natural Language Processing as a machine learning researcher and engineer. So four of us are going to take this space, and we are going to talk to you about one. I will start. I'll talk to you about climate change, and Mary will come in and talk about breast cancer and how it connects to climate change. And Kwame will come in and talk about the remedies to breast cancer, and also Asari will come in and he will talk about artificial intelligence and how we can use AI to solve both complications that come up as a result of breast cancer and also climate change. So it's going to be a very great space. Now, the United Nations came up with a group of 17 goals in 2015, and these are global goals that we want to achieve by the year 2030. So, for Green Earth for Humanity, our focus is solely everything climate change related. But then, why are we talking about breast cancer also? We all know that the month of October is the month that has been apportioned for breast cancer awareness. And globally, it's supposed to be recognized. So there's some connections that exist between climate change or the effects of climate change and breast cancer. So in this presentation, we want to lay out those connections and how we can in our own way work around them so that we don't have to suffer from these all the time, and also how can we solve them. So for the purpose of this space, since we'll be talking about breast cancer, which is health related, we'll be focusing on sustainable development goal 3, and also I'll be talking about climate change and all that. That'll be for SDG 13. Now, what is climate change? Climate change is something that you might have heard several times. But then what is it? So from my presentation, it is basically the change in our climate and weather systems over a long time. And it happens as a result of either the heating up of the earth or the cooling down of the earth's temperature. So increasing of temperature of the earth or a reduction in the temperature of the earth. But then mostly much focus has been on global warming, which is the increase in the average temperature of the earth. But then even if there's a reduction, which used to happen in the ice ages when the global temperature was very low, there'll also be climate change. Just that the side effects or the effects of that climate change will be quite different from when there's an increase in the global average temperature. Now, since the pre-industrial time, this temperature has increased by around 1.55 degrees Celsius. And we'll look at when we say pre-industrial time, what do we mean? We'll be looking at that soon. And climate change isn't an issue that happens only in Ghana, but then it is something that happens all around the world. Now, we are looking at the industrial revolution. That is when major rise in the global average temperature started. But then what marked this, or what was really significant about the Industrial Revolution, which led to this increase in temperature. And that was a time where there was the rise of coal to power factories and steam engines, vehicles started releasing lots of these gases, greenhouse gases. As we move on, we see what these greenhouse gases are. And when it comes to the burning of coal, these are coals that have been stored under the earth for millions of years, but then because they were needed to power factories and the engines and all that, they had to be released. And it's not good because these greenhouse gases, through a process we call greenhouse effect, end up trapping heat. We'll look at some diagram below and I'll explain how the whole heating up process happens. So they end up trapping heat around the Earth's surface, and the more they keep trapping the heat, it leads to the increase in the temperature of the Earth. But then when we talk about greenhouse gases, what are examples of greenhouse gases? So we have the most common example called carbon dioxide. But then carbon dioxide is not the only greenhouse gas. But then we get carbon dioxide when we burn fossil fuels, okay, like coal, oil, and natural gas. And also, I've written deforestation there because when we cut, deforestation refers to the cutting of trees. But then, trees need carbon dioxide so that they can carry out photosynthesis. So when you cut down trees, then it means that there are fewer trees left to suck up the extra carbon dioxide or the excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And so this is also not good. We want to reduce the number of carbon dioxide that exists. Cutting down of trees doesn't help because cutting down of trees means that there are just fewer trees left to suck up the excess carbon dioxide that exists. Other greenhouse gases we have are methane gas, and I've written 25 times CO2 because uh, methane gas is a more potent gas, or it causes more harm to the environment than carbon dioxide gas. Although, whenever we are looking at climate change, the focus is mostly on CO2. But then methane gas is 25 times more potent, or causes 25 times more harm, or it traps heat 25 times more than the CO2 gas. There's also nitrous oxide, and it can be obtained from agricultural and industrial processes. Methane is also obtained from livestock and also natural gas production. I've spoken briefly about deforestation already. Now, as we continue to release these gases into the atmosphere through what we call the anthropogenic causes, that is, through human activities, we release these gases into the atmosphere. It increases the concentration of these gases in the atmosphere. It increases the concentration of these gases in the atmosphere. And we measure the concentration in what we call ppm, parts per millions. We have ppb, parts per billions. We have ppt, parts per trillions. So in the case of carbon dioxide, we measure its concentration in ppm, and that's parts per millions. So before the Industrial Revolution, that is, the Industrial Revolution happened around the late 1700s. So before the Industrial Revolution, the parts per million concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was somewhere between 180 to 280 parts per million. But then after the Industrial Revolution throughout till now, this concentration has increased to 240. But then if we say, sorry, that it has increased to 420. But then if we say 420 ppm, what does it mean? So 420 ppm simply means that if you take every 1 million concentration, 1 million molecules of air, sorry, I have to accept some people joining the meeting. If you take every 1 million molecules of air, you have 420 of that concentration, that is carbon dioxide. And mind you, this carbon dioxide, so it doesn't include methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, and the other greenhouse gases. So we see a significant rise in the concentration of these greenhouse gases, which isn't good. Now, this diagram explains things quite easy for us. When you look at the diagram here, this is what we call the greenhouse effect. So we have the sun at the left top. So the energy that we gain from the sun gives us light and heat, right? So when the radiation from the sun gets to the Earth's surface, they are absorbed by the Earth's surface, and others are reflected by the surface of the Earth. So the infrared radiation is what gives us heat, right? So the infrared radiation that gives us heat, most of them are not reflected. Some of them are reflected from the Earth's surface, as you see at the far right bottom, but then some of them too are left around the surface of the Earth. And they are trapped by these greenhouse gases around the surface of the Earth. And that is what leads to the increase in temperature. So the greenhouse gases basically trap these infrared radiations, which is the heat that we get from the sun, on the Earth's surface, and it increases the temperature of the Earth. And increasing this temperature is what we call global warming. I think this is well understood. But then, how can we be sure that the temperature of the Earth is really increasing? Because there are a lot of skepticisms around. There are people who don't even believe that global warming is a thing. So, how can we be sure? Now, there is a body called the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and it was established by the WMO, World Meteorological Organization. The WMO basically collects all data about climate change and the weather around the world. And this IPCC, their work is basically to, they don't conduct researches, but then they look at research papers, peer-reviewed papers, and papers that have been published about climate change, and then they write reports on them. So from all the evidences that have been mentioned in all the papers that have been written over time, the IPCC writes reports on these ones, and then they release it to the public. And from the reports that they've been releasing, from one of them from 2000 and okay, I think it's not here. So one of them from 2007 stated that I mean, even before 2007, they've been saying in all the reports that the global average temperature of the Earth is increasing. And as I said at the beginning of my presentation, since the Industrial Revolution, it has increased by around 1.55 degrees Celsius. Now, what are some of the impacts of this increasing temperature of the Earth? It leads to hurricanes, it leads to storms, it leads to floods. I mean, I think I'll talk about it here. This is a picture of Mountain Kilimanjaro in 1993. And you see that in the center there, you see some whitish stuff. That is the ice that was on top of the mountain. If you come down 7 years later, in the year 2000, you see that most of this ice have left, or they've melted. So increasing the temperature of the Earth melts the ice on this mountain, and not only on this mountain, ice in general. So whether it's a glacier or whatever form the ice is present in. Now, when the ice melts, it turns into water. Now, when the ice melts, it turns into water, and then the water goes into the sea. And the water going into the sea increases the height of the sea, and this forces people to be displaced. So people who live around the coastal areas will have to leave because they can't stay there when the water is trying to eat up the land, right? Now, it also leads to things like drought, and drought can also lead to bushfires and also shortage of water. I've spoken about the melting of the ice and then the rising sea level. It also leads to ocean acidification. So water vapor that exists in air, when there's more carbon dioxide in air, it reacts with water vapor. So CO2 plus H2O gives a weak acid, and gives a weak acid, and then that weak acid leads to what we call the ocean acidification, and this is not good for marine life. Now, there's also what we call the heat and cold waves, where maybe you have a longer period of time where the weather becomes increasingly hot, or a very longer period of time where the weather becomes increasingly or abnormally cold or abnormally hot. And all these are impacts of climate change, which isn't good. And so, what are some of the solutions to climate change? We can talk about, these are not all, but then these are some. We can talk about things like climate legislation, where national and various nations around the world enact laws, or they bring up laws that will push companies or organizations or agencies to reduce their emissions. That's what we also call the carbon tax, where you pay some amount of tax based on the number of carbon dioxide you release into the atmosphere. There's also international agreements like the Paris Agreement that happened in 2015, where countries commit to reducing their emissions. There's also the shift to renewable energy, so that there's no much pressure on fossil fuels and all those ones that release these whose use release the greenhouse gases into the air. There's also we being energy efficient, which also is still related to renewable energy. There's also the use of electric vehicles, electric trains, among others. There's also afforestation, that's we need to plant trees. There's also what we call the carbon sequestration, where we find ways to trap carbon dioxide from the atmosphere so that, it reduces the concentration in the atmosphere. And also, it's very important that we create awareness about climate change, as we are doing in this presentation. We carry out education, and also we continue to explore more opportunities using artificial intelligence about how to ameliorate the side effects or the effects of climate change. And we should always keep in mind that this is there's no planet B. This is the only planet we have. So we have to really do whatever we can to save the planet. And yeah, if we all come together globally to make sure that we put in the necessary measures to help contribute towards ameliorating the effects of climate change, then we can have a better world. So every single person in this presentation, every single person around the world has a role to play. And that is why Greeners for Humanity has decided that they will now come in to help contribute towards making things better. We know that it wouldn't be easy, but then we are ready for whatever can be. So this is how I'll stop, and then Dr. Mary will continue the presentation from here, where she'll talk about breast cancer and how the side effects of climate change connects to breast cancer. Thank you. Um,
Thank you very much, Alex, for the very educative presentation on climate change. Thank you, everyone, for making time to join us today on this very important topic. As already introduced by the founder of Green Earth for Humanity, Alex Dixon, I am Mary Emba, and today it's a great honor to be discussing with you guys the effects of breast cancer as well as climate change linking to breast cancer and its disadvantages. And before we talk about breast cancer, I will emphasize again that it's not just a medical condition, but as we all know, it is a global public health challenge, and that is why globally October is set aside as a breast cancer awareness month, which is good, but sometimes I would like to say that we don't have to wait, especially the women, till October to be doing our self breast examination. We are encouraged to do it consistently every month. And before we talk about breast cancer, I would like us to go through some of the myths and facts about breast cancer out there. So some of the myths we all hear about breast cancer: men do not get breast cancer, and a small tumor always means there is a good prognosis or it can be easily cured. As well as some believe only older women get breast cancer, which I disagree with, or which is not medically the case. And also injuries to your breast, can cause breast cancer. Some also believe that the mammogram, which we use in the screening and treatment or diagnosing of breast cancer, do cause breast cancer. As well as there is another one saying breast cancer always means you have to lose your breast, which are all not the case. The real fact about breast cancer are that men do get breast cancer. In fact, we'll go deep about the anatomy and you get to know that so far as you have the breast tissue, you can get breast cancer. So it's not only in women. Breast cancer outcome or it being easily cured depends on the stage we detect it. So it doesn't depend on the size of the tumor, but the stage at which it was detected and the type of breast cancer. Breast cancer is not only in older women, as I already said, it is just a myth, but younger women can and do get breast cancer. Injury to your breast cancer also do not cause breast cancer, but it actually leads one to detect an already existing lump, which can be a cancer, to to be found or to be seen. And the mammogram, the reason why medically it is disapproved, it doesn't cause breast cancer, is because it uses very low level of radiation. And therefore, there is no evidence that it causes breast cancer. So these are the real facts or the truth about breast cancer, not what we hear. So especially men are also included in the self-examination, but it's not as emphasized as women because we have the larger breast tissue. So I'd like us to understand a bit anatomy about the breast to be able to help the men, especially know that breast cancer does not exclude them. So the breast tissue is not just an ordinary tissue from anywhere in our system, but it is from something we call sweat gland, which we all know, the glands within our skin that help us to produce sweat and excrete heat and other toxins. So the breast tissue is a modified sweat gland, and then it's within the skin. So this explains that so far as you have skin and you have those sweat glands, yeah, you can't get breast cancer, and it's not necessarily women. And the breast also is not just as a cushion or a tissue that we see, but it consists of what we call the lobes and lobules, and all these are important structures within the tissue we call breast that help to produce the milk and other hormones or and other lymphatic fluid within the breast tissue. So there is a picture which is coming next, giving us the anatomical structures about how the breast really is within. And all this is important because some of the breast cancer we hear or people do get are not all the same. So based on the anatomical structures, there are different types of the breast cancer that are diagnosed globally or every day. And that one person breast cancer is not the same as another breast cancer. And that is why the anatomy is important here. The breast tissue is a very sensitive to hormone sensitive tissue. So it's a hormone sensitive tissue. And based on that, we all know that when a child is born to the age of 10, let me say puberty, both male and female will have a flat chest. And this is due to the fact that there are no hormones or significant levels of the hormones that the breast tissue is sensitive to. So after puberty is when we see the differentiation between men and women or girls and boys in terms of breast development and enlargement. So the breast tissue is very sensitive to certain hormones we call estrogen and progesterone. So when a woman or a girl experiences her first period, this is when the hormones level are significantly increasing, and this leads to the enlargement of the breast tissue. Also, after menopause, we see that most of our grandmothers and mothers, their breast tissue begins to decrease in size and become this less firmness or fullness. This is because after menopause, the estrogen and the progesterone level decreases. And this is the reason why after menopause, there is no more menstruation because they are also influenced by the hormones. So breast is a very hormone sensitive tissue, and that is why the breast cancer ranges are also occur within certain age more than other age limit, depending on the type of breast cancer. Breast cancer does not really have a very known cause, but there are other predisposing factors or risk factors that we'll be talking about. And breast cancer, as I said, is not a cancer from anywhere, but it's from an overgrowth of most of the tissue or the tissue within our breast, our skin, our breast tissue within our skin. When there is an overgrowth, either due to imbalance of the hormones I'm talking about, or due to genetic factors, due to hereditary factors, which we'll be talking about later. And it's one of the most common causes of mortality in women globally, as well as It also can lead to is the most common cause of mortality in women, as well as ovarian and lung cancer can also lead to mortality in women. But we are thankful to this global awareness creation or education that happens yearly on the month of in the month of October. The breast cancer screening and survival rates has been increasing due to advanced medical screening tests, as well as early detection that people are using to figure out or to find out the lumps and then seek early medical evaluation and treatment. As said earlier on, breast cancer does not have a very unique cause or a very particular cause, but there are risk factors that lead to those breast cancer. And I classify them into what we call modifiable and non-modifiable. When we talk about modifiable risk factors, we are simply referring to factors that you and I have control over. We can do something to change them. And I've listed that smoking, drinking alcohol excessively, as well as lack of physical activity leading one to obesity, and then environmental toxin, as already discussed by our founder for Green Earth Humanity. Chemicals, environmental chemicals due to climate change, as well as radiation exposure, all increases the risk of breast cancer. And all this we have control over. We can change the food we eat. We can stop smoking if we want to. We can drink alcohol in moderation, as well as we can exercise. And then protecting our environment to avoid climate change are all things within our modification. The next one, I title it non-modifiable because those are the factors that nobody can control. Example being a female gender. You can't do anything to change it. If you are born a female, you are born a female. Your age, all of us here, we are growing, and age is not something that we can control. Family history. Some of the breast cancers are due to genetic mutation or genetic factors. So if your mother or a sister or an auntie has breast cancer, it's always advisable that you don't take any lump or any changes around your breast area lightly. You have to go for early screening, and if it is a harmless thing, they will let you know, because your risk increases based on the risk factors you have, the number of risk factors you have. People who also start their period before age 12 or who undergo menopause after 55 years also increases or also have increased risks of breast cancer, because these are all due to hormonal imbalance or occurring due to hormonal changes. Your hormone may start producing early and you menstruate early, or they may stop producing late and then you undergo menopause after 55 years. Some of the things we cannot control, as I said, genetically, we have some mutation, which is changes in our DNA or our genes that leads to breast cancer. And these are the most common are the BRCA1 and BRCA2. These are genetic factors that can also increase the risk. In fact, most common cause of genetic cause of breast cancer. So if you have this mutation, which can be screened and detected based on your family history, if your mother has breast cancer and it is found out it is this that leads to breast cancer, there's likelihood that a female child from the family will also have these genetic changes. So you need to go and have it screened, and then if it is detected, there are early advanced medical screening tests you can do to decrease your risk of developing the breast cancer early. So breast risk factors does not also mean that if you don't have it, you can't get breast cancer. But if you have it, two or more than somebody who doesn't have, your chances of getting breast cancer increases faster. So getting breast cancer depends on how many risk factors you have. And these are the reason why nobody is excluded from breast cancer. screening and also awareness education. We'll now talk about few types of breast cancer because there are a lot of them and the time we have will not permit us to do all. So there are the two main category of breast cancer based on anatomical structures and also based on the spreading nature of the breast cancer. We have the ductal carcinoma, which are breast cancer that develop from the duct that connects the lobules to the nipple. So it's a tiny tube connecting where the milk is produced to the nipple where the milk is excreted. So when this cancer develops there, it is called ductal carcinoma. It can be either what we call carcinoma in situ, meaning it is within surface area of the breast, or invasive. It's deep within the breast tissue and can also affect lymph nodes and other regional area. Then we have the lobular carcinoma. Lobular carcinoma also means that it is within the lobules of the breast tissue. From the anatomy, we saw that the lobules are the tiny round things, and those are the structures that produce milk in postpartum or in women after delivery. So cancer can also develop in those areas, and we call them the lobular carcinoma. It can also be the invasive form or the in situ form. There are other types of breast cancer, but based on due to time, we'll just show pictures about them in the next years. So we have something we call the Paget disease of the breast. It's also a kind of breast cancer, and this is in fact a very dangerous one because it has a very high grade, or should I say metastasis, can spread to other tissue, including your bones, your lungs. And its presentation is very unique because it starts as an itching area on the breast, as we are seeing in the picture. Then when the person scratches, then it keeps on and extending or spreading to larger surface of the breast tissue, so it can affect the whole breast surface area. By then, it has already spread to even your bones or your lungs if you don't detect it, if it is not detected early. So it is advised that when you begin to feel that your breast tissue, your nipple is itching, don't take it lightly, but seek medical evaluation. And the next one is what we call angiosarcoma of the breast. It's also a tumor that develops within the breast, the blood vessels within the breast tissue. So it's also a very invasive one, and it's not supposed to be taken lightly. When you see reddish dot on your breast, and you know that an insect has not bitten you or you've not been exposed to any allergen substance, seek medical evaluation. Then we talk about some warning signs about breast cancer, including these ones we've already mentioned. So if you detect a breast lump, whether visible or you are doing a self-examination and you see a lump, mostly it's not supposed to be always tender or painful. When the lump is there and you feel that it's not something that has been there, it's advisable to go for medical evaluation, and they will tell you if it is harmless or harmful. Then the nipple shouldn't be inverted. Inverted means turning in. It's supposed to be erected. It's supposed to be pointed outward. So when your nipple is looking flat or it is pointing inward, it's also a sign that something is going on and you should be concerned. Changes around the breast tissue. It shouldn't be, if you are dark skin, it shouldn't be more darker than the rest of your chest skin. And if you are light skin, when you see that it is turning reddish or pinkish, these are all warning signs that something is happening to your breast tissue. There is something we also call skin dimpling. Skin dimpling is simply mean that your skin is turning something like, there are photos to show that. I don't know if the slide has gotten that, but it's turning like orange light color or orange light skin. Yes, we can see the normal and then the problem, the skin dimpling. So if you see something that is changing in your skin, and you know that you've not been traumatized there, or you have not gotten injury, then it is advisable that you take it to the hospital for evaluation. Then this is what we call nipple retraction. Retraction means your nipple dividing into two. Sometimes it happens a lot in breastfeeding mothers when there is infection. It also a type of breast cancer called mastitis or inflammatory breast cancer. It happens in women who are breastfeeding. You see the nipple dividing and you think because the baby is sucking. It's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's a sign of a tumor or a cancer changes happening in your breast tissue. And these are all these warning signs that will tell us that there is something wrong with our breast tissue. In men, since men do not have cushion or enlarged breasts, some of the warning signs can be either a lump visible or palpated, or breast pain or tenderness. All these are signs that there might be something wrong with your breast tissue. So if a man, you've not been punched in the chest, you've not been in an accident, but all of a sudden you are experiencing pain within your breast area, which is happening consistently, then you should be concerned about that pain. There are some advanced breast cancer symptoms. These are advanced because when you start feeling pain in this area, it means it has already spread to the other parts of your body, including your bones, your lungs, your lymph node, your armpits. In fact, the armpits is the first area that when you see lymph node or you see lumps within your armpits, you should be concerned. Not all of them, but yeah, it's also a warning sign that probably there is something going on and those lymph nodes are enlarging. Weight loss is one of the symptoms of advanced breast cancer, not only breast cancer, but all cancers in general. And this is because cancers tend to take most of the nutrients or the blood supply from the normal tissue or from the normal dividing tissue. And therefore, if the cancer has spread to most parts of your body, it means your normal tissue are being deprived of oxygen, nutrients, and the rest of the things to nourish it. And therefore, people tend to lose weight when they get cancer. Diagnosing and then treating breast cancer can be clinical and both radiographical. So the first step to diagnose breast cancer, personally, you have to do the examination every month, especially women. So if you do your self-examination and you notice a lump and you are concerned, then you come or you go to the health center. At the health center, they will use what we call a mammogram. A mammogram simply is a picture of the breast tissue. So it will tell where the breast lump is. It will also tell how big it is or how small it is. But one thing is this mammogram, because it uses radiation, it is advisable to be used at a certain age, usually at age 40 and above. And it should be done every 1 to 2 years, not every month. So the mammogram only comes in when you are at age 40 and above. And then every year, then you can go for this mammography examination of your breast. When we found this lump with the mammogram within your tissue, then we do what we call the biopsy or lymph node biopsy. So this is just simply taking tissue from the abnormal lump within your breast and then testing it in the laboratory to see if it is really a cancer. If it is a cancer, there will be changes in the tissue that will tell the pathologist that this is a cancer or this is not. So these are the steps, and we can do the CT scan. CT scan will help us see if the cancer has spread outside the breast tissue or if this is still confined within the breast tissue. So these are some of the quick ways we can diagnose breast cancer. And these are not something out of reach in most health centers and hospitals. The mammograph is something you can find in even a clinic. So you don't have to wait till you get to the regional hospital when you see a lump, but you can go to the nearby clinic or the nearby health center within your reach and then tell them your complaint. And they can do this test to rule out either cancer or non-cancerous tumor for you. So there are some effects of breast cancer before we dive into the climate changes or the climate effects. Breast cancer is a global concern, as I said at the beginning, and therefore it is advisable that people who are experiencing it or who have gotten breast cancer, we should empathize with them. We should make mockery of them if you see somebody with a single breast tissue, especially the women, because the emotional trauma, the emotional toll it brings to the family alone is something that normally leads to people losing their life before the cancer kills them. It also affects financial stability. Cancer treatment is expensive, especially depending on the stage you detect it. Also, relationships are broken or are weakened because of this. It affects both children of the partner as well as the spouse who is supporting financially. The community as a whole also gets impacted when breast cancer or when diseases affect individuals in those communities. And then the loss and grief of cancer is something that globally it saddens our hearts, and that's why this awareness is being created to reduce the loss of lives through breast cancer and other types of cancer. Cancer is the leading cause of death among women. The second, in fact, according to the American Society of Breast Cancer, is the second leading cause of death among women. And it is estimated that 25% of people lose their life attributing to breast cancer. Breast cancer or climate change have a link to breast cancer in risks, and therefore, as Green Head for Humanity is making this impact to reduce the changes we cause to our climate and to our environment. I just want to link few points that he talked about at the beginning. The rising temperatures due to climate change does not only affect our water bodies, it does not affect the air, it does not affect the food insecurity, but it impacts health of population. It also creates environmental conduciveness for vector breeding of other diseases such as infection. Climate change also, as he said, when the temperature increases and the sea level rises, it leads to destruction of infrastructure, and this can include our health system, limiting the number of health system or health facilities available for treatments and diagnosis of diseases. I came across an article that was published by the Frontiers in Public Health, and they also agree with us that climate change has a correlation between cancer, and the increase in temperature in cancer has a correlation. Most of the cancers they listed were the breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and then cervical cancer, and these are all influenced by the temperature rising due to climate change. So according to this article, climate change exacerbates the exposure of carcinogenic factors, which we talk about, the modifiable factors we talk about, including air pollutants as well as radiation and chemicals. This all links to higher cancer incidence compared to when climate change was under control. This picture is simply telling us about how or the proper way to examine our breasts at home. So before you start touching your breast, sometimes people will prefer somebody, their spouse or partner, does it for them. But before you do anything, the recommended way is to stand in front of a mirror, especially the women, and then look at your breast tissue, both left and right breast. Look at either they are symmetrical meaning are they the same? If one is bigger than the other, you will notice. So you have to know your breasts, their size, so that any slight changes that will happen, you'll be able to notice that something is happening to your breast. The second picture is also telling us to raise our hands. So you raise your hands, both hands, and then this will expose the underneath area. And I mean below your breast, especially those who have full breasts. If you raise your hand, you'll be able to see underneath the breast if there are changes there. Then before you start massaging or palpating, you have to look under your armpits, both sides, to see if there are any lymph node enlargements or any lumps within. Then in the massaging part, we have a circular formula or a circular method, and then a vertical, which is also known as up and down method. So you don't just palpate your breast anyhow or press it anyhow. You make sure you raise one hand. This will make the breast raise up a bit, and then you massage up and down like the first picture. I wish I was the one controlling the screen. So how the arrow is indicating is the correct way to do the massaging. And then the circular method, you start from the center of the breast, which we call the nipple. And then you massage or you palpate outward. So you don't massage and lift your hand. You massage and palpate outward, making sure your hand cover every area. The third one is, or the last but not the least, is to squeeze the nipple very slightly to see if there's any discharge. There shouldn't be any color of discharge besides something similar to water if you are not breastfeeding. Then if you are breastfeeding, it should be milky. But if you see anything like bloody or it is yellow greenish, these are all signs of maybe either infection or inflammatory breast cancer. Then when you lie down, you also do the same circular or vertical or up and down massaging or palpating of your breast. And this is the manner in which the self-examination is done. It wouldn't take more than 5 minutes if you do it. And it is recommended we do this 2 to 5 days after our period. So if you are menstruating, you can't do it. Before you menstruate, you can't do it. But 3 to 5 days after your period, this is the recommended time. This is because doing that post premenopausal or during ovulation, when you are ovulating and you are palpating, your breast tends to be painful or tender, and you might detect like forceful lumps that are not of concern. But 3 to 5 days, the hormone levels decline or they come down, and your breast tissue is not painful, and you can do the correct examination without detecting any forceful lumps. So these are all pictures of how self-examination of breast tissue at home can be done and should be done correctly. Yeah, I think it's the last slide for the presentation. Thank you, and if you have any question, I believe there will be a session for that.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Mary. Dr. Kwame
Yeah,
will
hello.
continue. Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Good
Hello,
evening.
good evening. Hello. Please can you
Yeah,
hear me?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, so thank you all once again, and I'd like to welcome you all. So I'll be taking you through the real treatment options when it comes to breast cancer, and we'll go through some of the stages and how we'll be able to prevent breast cancer, as well looking at the preventive measures and also looking at the policies in terms of breast cancer. Where I'll start is basically I would like to introduce myself. I'm Kwame Maheni Downfall, and I'm a pharmacy graduate from K University, and I was handed by Guinness for Humanity to present to you today. So, Dr. Mary has already spoken a lot about breast cancer, and it is very crucial that we are all at risk, and there is a need for awareness and the education and the importance for self screening as well. Early detection, they say, actually saves lives. So the thing is that it's not really attributed to women, but attributed to men as well, and everyone is at risk. And we should all be vigilant to be screened or allow themselves to be screened for early detection as well. So moving on, Okay, so moving on, next slide, please. Okay, so I would like to talk about the various methods where we use to test whether there's some form of cancers or there's some form of growth. So you see any lamp as the camera is stated, or you feel any defects in your breast, any changes in your breast, it's very ideal that you report to the hospital. However, we do have what we call a process that we do at the labs where we use a condom to take a specimen, then we take it for pathological studies to study the sample and see how the cancer's growth is like, and that will also inform us on how the treatment option will be like. Okay, so when it comes to the classification, when I say classification, we're trying to stage the cancer levels. It helps us, as I said earlier, in treatment planning. Also, it helps in prognosis, letting us know how possible you know whether your stage is advanced to the extent that we can't do anything about it. That would be more of taking care of you or managing you to the time is near. Standard for you to also re-ask clinicians to have standard communication and also to determine whether you're eligible for clinical trials. Some of these cancerous medications are tend to be used for trials because we've not really proven whether it's good. So once we apply it on someone and we see it's working, then we'll be able to apply it. Moving on, we have various ways of staging. But I'll be talking about the TNM staging system. According to the agency, we consider the tumors, the nodes, whether they spread, and also we we combine them, making sure that we'll be able to stage it. So based on these tumors and the size, we'll be able to classify them. Next slide. So stage zero is actually the minimal form, and actually means that there's no cancer of that sort. Small, which means the tumor size being less than 2 centimeters. Stage one. Stage two will have an increase in tumor size with limited nodes, where stage three will have advanced local spread with large tumors, and IV is the distance with metastasis. So these are the various stages that we can use to classify it. And as I said, we use it and we use it for informed decisions as clinical professionals. And that's what the doctors will also use it to inform you or to educate you or to communicate clearly to you the ways where we'll be able to treat you for you to have the best of care or treatment. Yes, so for you to determine how far your treatment will go, it will depend on these factors. Tumor size, medullary status, histological grade, hormonal status, and the HER2.
Yeah.
Hello? Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Gideon, thank you. So these are the various treatment options for breast cancer. We opt for surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, hormonal therapy. There are some circumstances where we do both. We can combine them, or we can even do three based on how treatment would be like. So now let's talk more about it. So please let's move on. Next slide. Hello. Okay, so stage zero, remove the mass. Mass removed through surgery and hormone performed to ensure cancer doesn't return. Stage one also involves mass removed, but we may sometimes do radiation to the area to make sure that the lump has shrunk or the cells are radially shrinking. Stage two, we will do surgery. Sometimes we may have to remove the whole breast, that's known as the mastectomy. and radiation to may be applied as well. Chemotherapy may be used also in these stages to get out the surgery so that we'll be able to adequately shrink the tumors. Stage 3 is potentially doing mastectomy, chemotherapy, radiation altogether. However, in stage 4, it has advanced, which means stage 4, as I stated in the classifications, because there is some sort of metastasis. Metastasis, however, can occur in any parts of the body, whether in the brain, whether in the blood, or even in the chest area. So usually we tend to do palliative care, but that doesn't mean there is no hope. But we do more palliative care, trying to manage the pain till God will call the person.
Okay.
So, what do we do as citizens of Ghana? What do we do as residents in our community? We have to ensure that we create awareness. Breast cancer doesn't only happen in
Right.
October. It's something that should be happening frequently. Screening, painting education, creating awareness, the need for regular screening. We have several forms, as Dr. Emba said, the clinical based exam, the self breast examination. They are all procedures that can help us. If you feel any
Okay.
strange feelings, you can, however, move to the hospital as early as possible to
Yeah.
receive any expert advice or care. We as people in residence should provide support to the people. We shouldn't create that form of stigma or let that feeling of loneliness be with them. Sometimes they need that support for them. Fundraising and research. Recently, I'm sure Akolibu, or even with the NHI, there are some medications due to clinical trials that are free. So there is a need that we have to keep on educating them that even when it comes to treatment, some of the medications are free and they shouldn't feel shy coming to us, but they shouldn't be scared of the cost. The important thing is that they should report to the nearest facility and
Huh?
they receive care. So
What day?
the important thing is that
Mention Yari.
we should continue to create more fundraising to promote the cause of preventing breast cancer and also provide more research, as I said, in clinical trials as well, to make sure that people receive adequate medication for care. Also, I'd like to talk about the promotion of regular screening and providing screening for patients as well. Regular screening should be done after age 40. Mammogram should be done at least, if not detected, at least every year or every 2 years would be appropriate. Next slide, please. So, in terms of reducing breast life, these are certain lifestyle we should avoid. As Dr. Abbas stated, some of these things may lead to it. Certain risk factors, so we should try to avoid them. We should reduce our intake of alcohol. We should stop smoking. If we are obese, we should try to lose weight. As these things will tend to increase your likelihood of you getting breast cancer and any other health condition that you can find yourself in. Avoid radiation therapy. Mammogram is radiation. However, mammogram is a low dose radiation. However, so it's safe. But anywhere that, especially with X-ray, you should try to limit those things and try to limit your usage of phones. These things are factors that are also contributing rigorously to breast cancer. Um, Especially with our mobile phones, we should try to give it some time a little bit. Maybe when we are going to bed, we should try to put it aside and let it charge. Maybe put off our internet. Let the phone rest away from you for a while. Studies have shown that these things are likelihood of increasing your risk as well. We try to limit any form of radiation at least in a day. And also we should be physically active, try to avoid sitting on one place, be physically active, taking more fruits and vegetables to supplement your vitamins and mineral intake as this nourish yourself and promote growth as well. Thank you. Next slide. So working together, we really thank you because you are working together with us to promote awareness. Um, we should also join other people in breast cancer awareness, either works, either marathons, either education, either rallies or of any form, we should support the cause in any way we can. We find ourselves in. Healthcare providers should also help NGOs as well, like the way we find ourselves helping Guinness or humanity. Anywhere we are, we will be willing to help promote the cause of breast cancer awareness and help the people. And also, we should promote education and outreach in schools as well. And because if early detected, we will be able to prevent it to the latter stages where nothing can be done at all. So, how can you contribute? We are in Pink October, Pinky October. We should raise awareness. We should wear our pinks representing October, being for breast cancer awareness. We should share our story. We've had we if we can connect to breast cancer, you can invite survivors to speak. Maybe at your anywhere you find yourself, you can share education, any little education you have. You can share it with people, share stories to people to motivate them on the need for regular screening, and also donate for the cause of breast cancer awareness and any research regarding breast cancer, either clinical trials, either promotion. We should help the cause. Most likely. So when it comes to policies, we should promote policies that will strengthen environmental regulations, increase funding for breast cancer research, promoting policies that support breast cancer rights, and always engaging in screening for both men and women. So I would like to thank you all for this opportunity, and I'll hand over to my colleague, Mr. Nana Kusia.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good
Good
evening.
evening, sorry.
My name is Nana Kwesi and I am AI research engineer at the Ghana Natural Language Processing Company and also AI researcher at the Hybrid Intelligence Lab at the Northwestern University, working under Professor Maxima, focusing on medical AI. So today we are going to talk about AI for breast cancer and also for climate change. We are going to see how AI is transforming health and also the planet. So, artificial intelligence is shaping the future of two humanity's greatest challenges, that is, saving lives and also saving the planet. So, as I said today, I will walk you through how AI is being used to fight breast cancer and also climate. Okay. Next. Okay. Okay. So AI is one of the few powerful tools enough to fight two global crises. That is the fight for human health and also the fight for a livable planet. So why AI matters in? Please, can you go back to why AI matters in the fight of breast cancer and also for climate? So we live in a world facing two silent emergencies, that is cancer and climate change. So according to research, according to the World Health Organization, WHO, every 14 seconds, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer. And every year also, climate disasters cost 300 billion, globally. And I can tell you that AI can help us detect, predict, and also act faster for both cancers. Okay. So when we think of AI, we often imagine as a robot or only ChatGPT. But AI is also helping doctors find cancer earlier, and also scientists understand how climate is changing. Business. Okay. So what exactly is AI? So when we talk about AI, in simple put, we can say machine that learns patterns and also make predictions. So under AI, we have machine learning, which we train data. So it learns from data, and we have machine learning frameworks such as deep learning that mimics how the human brain works with neural networks. And sorry if you are not, if I'm a bit too technical, but as time goes on, I will explain everything to you. And we also have under the machine learning or in the in the AI space, artificial intelligence space, we have something called computer vision, which helps computers see medical and satellite images in our context. So think of AI like incredible fast pattern detector. So it is able to spot what the human eye might miss. Okay. Okay, please next. So moving on, let's talk about AI in breast cancer. Yeah. Yeah. So 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. As a result of that, early detection is very important. But we are facing some challenges, and one of it is most of the radiologists face heavy workloads in many countries, such as Ghana. Most of the developing countries, Ghana, Togo, and the other countries that lack screening infrastructures. Okay, so just imagine a rural clinic with one doctor for thousands of patients. An AI model can scan mammograms in a second. That is amazing, and flag suspicious cases for review, giving doctors a second pair of eyes, which I think is something very amazing. Okay, so let's look at how AI, if you're able, for example, if we are able to build an AI system in Ghana here to support breast cancer, detection. Let's see how the AI will behave, or how the AI is being used to detect the breast cancer. So AI in medical imaging, currently AI is thriving in the medical imaging, space. So in our case, in our context, the AI will be able to analyze mammograms, ultrasounds, and even MRI scans, okay, to detect, the cancer lesions in the scans or the images. And it is able to detect most of the issues related to the breast that is invisible to human eyes. Let me say doctors. And this same AI is able to classify tumors. Okay. So, for example, recently we have Google Health. So they performed some experiment, and their AI was able to outperform 6 radiologists, reducing false negative and also false positives. Okay, so when you talk about false negatives and false positives, the conventional methods, or let's say the traditional method of detecting breast cancer, most I would say, comparing to AI, the accuracy of the AI is mostly higher, because it's something that is able to learn faster even than humans. Okay, and also another example is the MIT SAIL. So it's able to predict who is likely to develop breast cancer up to 5 years earlier, which I think this is quite incredible. Okay, so this doesn't replace doctors; it actually empowers them. So I would say that AI reduces missed diagnosis and also gives women a fighting chance. Okay, so maybe someone may be thinking AI is going to replace doctors, because I'm talking about AI in the medical space, but no, it is going to empower doctors and also reduce the misdiagnosis and also gives women a fighting chance. I repeat. So let's look at a real story from a certain clinic in South Korea. So they've been able to build an AI system called Unit Insight, which is an AI tool, and they've deployed this AI tool in many hospitals, and it is able to analyze over 100,000 mammograms daily, which I don't think doctors can do that daily, right? One doctor can perform that daily. So doctors are able to report 15% faster workload and 20% higher accuracy, yeah, compared to human doctors. So imagine being that patient whose tumor or cancer was caught early because an AI tool flagged it for a review, which I think is a lifesaver, right? So let's go beyond detection. How AI is shaping how AI is shaping our treatment plans. Okay. Also, sorry, please remain okay. So I forgot to say something. In Ghana here we have two labs. We have Ghana NLP and Mino Health AI, and they are doing well in terms of the AI, AI thing in the medical space. So the Mino Health Labs, they've built an AI system that is able to, detect breast cancer, and the system was made in Ghana here. And also we have Ghana NLP. They've built a translation system, which if you don't understand anything, maybe your medical report, maybe if it is in English and you want to translate it into Ewe, Fante, Chi, and other languages, you'll be able to do so, right? So I think AI in Ghana is really, taking some shape. Okay, back to the treatment section. Okay, so right now, not only detection that AI can assist us, we can also build AI tools for treatment plans. So we can build AI to predict treatment response, like chemotherapy success, the likelihood that it will succeed. And as Dr. Mary said, maybe some people are more prone to breast cancer because of their family history, and we can use AI. We can build an AI to analyze and also identify genetic risk from family history, and also to track recovery and using wearable sensors. So, for example, please next. So, for example, the IBM Watson for Oncology recommends a personalized treatment plan based on medical literatures and patient data, and we can use AI to train that data to make those recommendations, right? In the future, your treatment could be uniquely optimized for your DNA, and that is the power of AI in personal medicine. So now let's look at some challenges in the medical AI. So some of the challenges that we are facing right now is biasness. So most of the models are trained on Western data, which may misdiagnose in Africa or Asia. That is why it is imperative that we Africans or maybe Asians, we have to build our own systems. But for global health purposes, whatever we do, we must include other races, so the system will be able to reduce the biasness. So data privacy is also another challenge that we are facing, because medical data is sensitive. And also trust. Doctors and patients must understand how AI makes decisions. So currently we have a part in AI in the AI space called explainable AI, where we are trying to make sure that whatever AI system we build, the decision it makes, the same AI is able to explain to us how and why it arrived at that conclusion or at that decision. So we can't build a global AI with local data alone. We must make it fair, transparent, and also inclusive, right? Okay, so let's transition from the human health to planetary health. Please, next. Okay, so let's transition from the human health to the planetary health. So the same artificial intelligence that helped us to read mammograms can also help us read the planet. So AI is not just about health, it is also about fighting climate change. So if AI can detect a tumor or cancer, it can also detect a forest fire, a drought or pollution. And the difference is only the kind of image and the data we use to train that AI, systems. Okay, so let us see how AI fights climate change. So for some of the AI applications in the climate space, for prediction. So currently, we are able to use AI to predict extreme weathers and sea level rise, and also crop yield. And for optimization side, for energy grids and renewable systems, we are able to use AI to optimize that. And for most importantly, for mitigation, we can build AI system. I think the same Health Lab, but different name. They built a system. I have a colleague also building a system for Ghana where we are monitoring our cocoa farms because of the galamsey. So they are using satellite images to track where illegal mining activities will be taking place, and they are going to just train the models with galamsey imageries, okay, and non-galamsey site image. That is the forest aspect images. Okay, so for the mitigation side, as I said, we can use it to track deforestation and emissions, and also wildlife. Okay, so for example, aside the what we are building in Ghana, we have some tools already deployed by the big tech companies. We have IBM Green Horizons, and it's an AI tool that predicts air pollution 3 days ahead in Beijing, right? So we have an AI tool that is able to predict air pollution 3 days ahead in Beijing, China. And also we have the Google DeepMind AI tool, which is able to reduce data center energy used by 40%. And we have the Microsoft AI for Health. It's a project for protecting the ecosystem. So what they do is to use the satellite images to monitor the forest, and the entire earth. Okay, so AI helps us to see our environmental impact in real time and fix it before it is too late for us. Okay, let's move on to some of the practical examples, AI and forest monitoring. So we have NASA and the Global Forest Watch use satellite imagery, as I've already discussed, and also to detect illegal logging and also fires in Ghana. In the Ghanaian context, we are also looking forward to fix the illegal mining aspect. Okay, using AI. So the AI is able to alert authorities, saving millions of trees. So if you're able to deploy an AI to our Galamsey site, not Galamsey side, but on top of our forest, we will be able to see when anyone attempt to do Galamsey mining or do illegal mining there. Okay. So think of it as a digital forest ranger watching every tree from the space. Okay, let's move on to AI for renewable energy and disaster response. So AI forecasts solar and wind energy to balance the grid, especially for the optimization side. So during floods or wildfires, a drone map, AI drone map damage for faster rescue. So we are able to map the damages. The AI is able to map where the most damage is taking place for authorities to act faster. And AI models are able to predict where and when disaster may strike. Okay, so for example, please next. For example, the UN Global Pulse uses AI, artificial intelligence, to map flood risk in Africa. Yeah, okay, and the Tesla AI based energy optimizer balances the entire city power usage in the US. So I would say that AI can help us prepare, not just react, saving both lives and also resources. Okay, so let us move on to the common thread. So AI is able to detect disease early, where climate AI detects environmental changes early. And for breast cancer AI, aims to save lives, where climate AI aims to save the planet. And it needs, for breast cancer AI, it needs quality data. But for climate AI, it needs global data. One of the problems in medical AI or breast cancer AI is faces ethical and bias issues. Okay, that's why it is important that those in the AI space trying to build something to solve problem, we should include data from the various parts of the world. We shouldn't stick to only local data. Okay. Okay. So in both cases, I would say AI is a partner and not a hero. I repeat, in both cases, I would say AI is a partner and not a hero. It helps us see sooner and act smarter. So it's not going to take your job. Okay. So what is next? Okay. So looking forward, the next generation of innovators, sorry, may be in this meeting. And I hope that we are going to design AI systems that will heal both people and the planet. Okay. So in conclusion, please next. In conclusion, I would say that technology alone won't save us, but technology guided by empathy, fairness, and science just might. Okay. So AI is transforming cancer care from detection to treatment. AI is empowering climate action from prediction to prevention. And our role is to ensure that the AI systems that we build stays human-centered. So the fight against breast cancer and climate crisis are connected by one truth. So they both need early detection, data, and human compassion. And AI gives us the tool, but we must choose how to use them. I repeat, the fight against breast cancer and the climate crisis are connected by one truth. Both need early detection, data, and human compassion. AI gives us the tool, but we must choose how to use them. Thank you very much. Okay, Kwesi, I'm
Preparations for this presentation has been underway for several weeks, and so we are really excited that you're able to come and give us this presentation. You made time off your very busy schedules. Now we'll just open way for some questions if there are any questions. So if you have any questions, just please raise your hands. You can ask the question and we respond to it together. If you're on the call and then you think you can also answer a question that has been asked by someone else, feel free to do that. So, yeah, question time. I really like the fact that we work with it at the time. We said 1 hour, 30 minutes, and we are about 5 minutes away from that. So that's good. Yeah, so any questions? Anyone? There is Abbas on the call, Nuala, Chico, Derek, Dogoli, Fatumat, Helen, Paul, Mavis, Riches, Gideon. Anyone? Any question? Just to be sure, I believe everyone can hear me, right? Okay, good. So, any questions? Now, as you are putting your questions together, I just want to say that Greeners for Humanity is still an emerging organization. So we are working on our membership at the moment. If you're on the call and then you want to be a member of us, you want to be part of us, you want to contribute towards making the environment a better place, towards making the planet a better place, towards, helping contribute towards making life great, just feel free to give me a text, or if there's anyone who facilitated today whom you know, you can just give them a text. But I'll drop my contacts in the message box so that you can just go through our membership process and then, yeah, you become a member of us. We are still very new. In fact, this is our very first online space to fill, and we look forward to thousands to come. So, yeah. Any questions from anyone? Are you shy to ask the questions, or you understood 100% everything, so you do not have questions? So maybe I'll just call someone. They will see if the person is shy to ask or they understand everything. That's why they do not have questions. So maybe let's start with Abbas. So Abbas, are you shy to ask questions or you understood everything?
Yeah, I was okay with the presentation. Everything was very, very clear to my understanding.
Okay, that's good, Abbas. Thank you very much. Yeah, so there are several others. Since no one has questions, well, that's good. What it means is that the facilitators did a really good job. So yeah, so congrats to our facilitators. And we said we're going to hold this space within 1 hour 30 minutes. We started at 5:05, so we are just 3 minutes away from that. So if there are no more questions, then it means that I just want to say that you've learned a lot, or we've mentioned a lot in this presentation. So make sure that the knowledge that you've gotten from this presentation doesn't stay with you only. The purpose is for everyone around the world to hear this information. And then we are still new, so we still have a long way to go. So talk to your friends, talk to strangers, talk to everyone whom you can speak to. Yeah, I saw that Gideon has raised his hand, so I'll be calling you soon. So just try to spread the news so that everyone gets to know of this. Okay, very, very important. So, Gideon, please, what's your question?
Yeah, I wanted to know if someone is or someone goes for breast cancer and then is made known or is made aware that they have breast cancer, can they still fly, like let's say from one country to the other? Won't maybe their height affect it, or kind of that? I don't know if my question is clearly heard or is understood well.
Okay, so your question is, if someone has breast cancer, does height have an effect on the person? I think that's what you're asking. I think that's what you're asking, right? Okay, you've muted
Yeah, yeah,
yourself, so who knows the answer to this? Will anyone want to answer?
yeah.
If
Sorry,
please, Doctor,
let's. Okay,
Doctor.
so this is more. Sorry, please, can I come in?
Yes,
All right, I
yes,
think this is
coming.
more medical than the very areas they treated. No, the height has no effect on the cancer of the. Depending on the stage, regardless of the stage of the cancer, height has no effect on that. As far as we know, or according to all data available, so far as all type of research is concerned, the height of the or the fact that the person is flat on the cancer.
Doctors. He's my very good friend from KNUSD. A really great guy. Thank you very much, Doc. Gideon, so yes, he said that as far as knows and from our researches, the height doesn't have any effects on the cancer. Yeah. Yes. Any more questions from? Let's wrap up in the next 4 minutes. That means we wrap up. So means we wrap up. So yes. So I've dropped. I think I've dropped my contacts in the box. If you want to be a member of Green Earth for Humanity, you just give me a message and we take it from there. We go through a very simple interview and that's it. If you also have a question about Green Earth for Humanity, if no more questions, we are ending in the next 4 minutes. Okay, then I think we have to end it now because like everyone is quiet, so it means that there's no questions. So, but then does anyone have any comments, suggestions? Yeah, anything like that, comments or suggestions too, you can let us know. If you don't have questions, you don't have comments too. Oh, okay then. Would like to say, or does any of the fascists want to say anything? If you want to say anything, you can just please unmute yourself and speak up. But if not, then that's how we end the space for today. Would like to say a very big thank you to everyone who joined. And yeah, as I've said, all the information you've learned today, do well to spread the news. Let other people hear about it, and let's definitely stay in touch. So it will be a bye bye for now, and stay safe and let's stay in touch. Thank you very much. Bye bye, everyone.